Oi, oi! Hello, welcome to another Ante-Post bet video. I think I've just kicked the stand. I may have wobbled. Do not worry, Storm Bert is out of the way. I think it was Bert, no, wasn't it? Made it interesting for this weekend, didn't it? Deluge of rain on the day. Haydock went from good ground to, I know they called it officially soft, but must have been heavy towards the end. Good racing over in Ascot as well, and that is where the Ante-Post bet is going to come from. Just a tiny bit to talk about before then. This week, last week I did a bit of a preview thing, didn't I? This week, again, which bookie? I'm doing a Hennessy preview for them. So Newbury, there is also Fairyhouse, there's Newcastle. So there's lots to talk about this weekend. Thursday, that video will be going live on the Which Bookie channel. So thank you to the guys that supported that video, subscribed to that channel. I'll put a reminder out on this, like for a post, so you'll see that on YouTube. But yeah, Thursday, you'll be able to see a preview there, which will be not just the ITV races. GG Weekend Watch will be out Thursday too, where that will be the ITV races. Andrew Mount and Matty Sutcliffe were on last week. They've got pretty good results, to be fair. They're all over Royal Pagaille. This time it'll be me, Andrew, and Kate is back. We've got some seriously good action coming up this weekend, but look, that's not the point of this video. The point is to tell you who I have put another Ante-Post bet on. Now, look, I'll link in the description. I'm doing an Ante-Post book for GG. Big supporters of mine, so I appreciate them. In there, I write about the racing that's happened this weekend, because of, or even this weekend and last week as well, like in the midweek. But John Durkan was a phenomenal race this weekend, wasn't it? And then I look forward a bit towards the weekend as well, give my thoughts of some stuff to look at. So look, I know there's a few of these types of things out there. I feel like this is a reasonably good read. It ends up being between 2,500 and 3,000 words, but it's maybe like a 5-10 minute job. You might want to pick that up on your lunch breaks or of an evening or something. And in there, I detail a lot more about these Ante-Post bets too. So without further ado, we're 2 minutes into the video. Well done for staying this long. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. That's not subscribing. That is liking the video. Make sure you do that too if you can, please. Drop a comment below with what you think of this one, because I'm about to ruffle some feathers, I guess. Well, not intentionally anyway. It is a horse in the Stayers Hurdle. It is no, it's not Ante-Post. That was last year, wasn't it? This year it is Lucky Place. He's a top price 25 to 1 with Bet365. So you do have the concession of a cash out in there. I will stick up now through the magic of editing my bet slip from Bet365. I've had £25 win on him on there. I had a £20 win on Bet Victor as well at 25. So I'll stick that in there just for the purpose of this. So I've got a bit more on. Opt for this or apt for this video. I've put a bit more on him, but for the purpose of this, I would have it as a 1 pointer, right? So I did those two bets. I did the Bet Victor one because they were the biggest price at the time. Anywho, it doesn't really matter. I'm just sharing those things. I have got a bit more on than I'll be saying in here is in terms of one stake in there, but you guys can fill in your own blanks after. Right. Of course, the big problem with this particular type of bet is Ante-Post is very much one of the festival bankers this time round. And as a big fan of this horse last year, I think he's got a good chance of retaining his crown. I think he's a very good animal. I think they obviously found the key to campaigning him last season. A lot of those points were reasons why I suggested to back him last term and why I was a big fan of his. I liked the keeping him fresh angle. And I did also think at the start of the season that he would have the chance to take the scalp of an Impere Pass, who is, well, was thought of as an absolute beast, wasn't he? But what we'll quickly talk about in this video, because I say, like, I don't think it needs too much explaining when they're sort of a biggish price. You're either going to like it or you're not going to like it. But for the purpose of selling it to you, not that it needs to be done, make your own decisions on these types of things. I'm just sharing with you how I'm playing it. He is going to take on Lossiemouth this Sunday. So that's not really made any bearing on why I've bet Lucky Place, but he is taking on Lossiemouth. On official ratings, she's only got £1 to find with him. It's only a 4-runner race. Gordon has got a couple of other runners, but who knows? It might be a bit more tactical than it was last year. And it was tactical last year, but I think things fell into place for Ante-Post to run a big race. I made a case to a few friends about the fact that he was a bet in that race last year. Obviously doing what he'd done before. And look, for all intents and purposes, he's going to be odds on and he's probably going to go and win a Hatton's Grace. Now, you might argue if he goes and dots up and slaps Lossiemouth out the planet, then he looks an even better horse than before, makes him 170s instead of a 160s horse, and then he cannot get beat in the Stayers Hurdle. But look, anything can happen between now and March. I'm not betting Lucky Place in the hope that Ante-Post gets injured or doesn't make it there. Just saying, we know what it's like with Ante-Post betting. You might want to get more than one horse covered in a race. And I feel better with having maybe the main rivals for a Stayers Hurdle, shorty, festival banker type horse covered at bigger prices, and then you have the luxury on the day, if you're that way inclined, to splurge a bit more on some of the shorties. You can get stuck in if you've got cover in behind. So let's just say, for whatever way this pans out, Lucky Place ends up as a second or a third favourite for a Stairs hurdle. If you manage to get on them at the right price, you can buy in relatively cheaply. The 25 quid that I'm having on him at this sort of price affords us to have a few £100, I say left over, but a few £100 that you might take the chance and slap onto a short price favourite. But anyway, let's talk about Lucky Place, because this horse has one season over hurdles, finished fourth at the Coral Cup last season behind Langadan, and was sort of staying on towards the line. Now, he has been schooling over fences. He was in my column with Gigi as a horse to follow, and I wasn't sure whether they would go chasing with him, because from his breeding, it wouldn't look like he's a proper chaser. There's a couple of horses in there, Zenta and something else, I think, that are both 0 from 2 over fences, but you trust the connections and trainers to make the right decision. I also thought his mark of 140 looked workable, so you thinking, all right, they'll plot him for some sort of handicap, or at least they'll expose that or exploit that in a handicap at some point. But we know what the British division's like over here. He managed to pick up a grade 2 on Saturday off a rating of 140, and he's only gone up to 145 off the back of that. Now, that race was run fairly slowly, took advantage, and they did finish in a bit of a heat. But the key thing here is he did finish in front. When you get a lot of these horses, like he was eye-catching in that Coral Cup, if they keep being eye-catching in defeat, you start to worry a little bit if they're being flattered. But he knuckled down, got his head in front, and I think what was more important than anything for this horse is the start of last season, admittedly bumped into Tell Her the Name, I think it was. He ran to an RPR of 109, and he ended the season with an RPR of, I think it was 138. So he went up £29 in the season. Now, look, that's a big jump to say that he's going to do exactly the same again this time round. But we talk about it lots at this start of the season or this time of the year. Horses that go well fresh versus horses that don't. This is a horse that you could argue might have been entitled to need the run. The fact they've been schooling him over fences and he had chase entries as well, I was thinking to myself, well, maybe he's not schooled so well, and I, again, picked that up in his breeding, but still thought I wasn't 100% confident from going into Ascot thinking that he would win that race, if I'm brutally honest. As much as I thought he was a nice prospect, I thought it may be that they... things hadn't necessarily gone to plan, or he might have needed the run, and it was just a case of just getting him out and, save his mark, because he would get hidden in a race like that. But look, he didn't pan out that way. He came out and won, and then Matt Chapman, that's not his name, is it? Matt Chapman interviewed Nico de Boinville after, said about him potentially being a Stairs hurdle type horse, and Nico de Boinville was very glinty in his eye and said, "Have you been overhearing us? You better go speak to the boss about that. We've just been talking about it." So look, he's got a lot of pounds to figure to get up to the standard of a Ante-Post. Yes, I know that, and I get that. So I'm not saying I think that he's going to beat Ante-Post as it stands, but I think there's a chance for him to progress this season, and I think there's a chance for him to go in here as a rival at least, or at least he's going to shorten up quite a bit. Now, we saw Crambo win the long walk hurdle at Ascot last season, beating Paisley Park, who was 11, Dashwood Rasher that was 10, and Champ that was 11, I think, at the time. He won that when he was still officially rated 142, flopped a bit in the spring. They found out there was a couple of niggly issues with him, Noel Feely did, and they've sort of put them to bed. But he's a 66 to 1 shot for the Stairs now, which some people might argue is too big, but he went off 7 to 1 for a Stairs hurdle last year. So Lucky Place could be that type of profile. Crambo was 6 turning 7, a bit more exposed as far as I'm concerned. Lucky Place is 5 turning 6, very unexposed. He's just that one season really under rules. He came out in a bumper, but at the back end of May, wouldn't class that as a season racing. So there's a lot more progression potentially to come from him. I think he's obviously shown that he likes Ascot. We do have to find out if he definitely stays, but I think he does. Looks like he races like a type of horse that would, and he has got that bit of speed as well, which I do like for horses that are running over a trip. That was another case that I made for Ante-Post. They did campaign him as a champion hurdley type horse, and while he wasn't doing it, he's got to be quick enough to be beating horses like Impere Pass at the Midley trip. It helps when you step up in trip as well. So I think there's a lot to say that Lucky Place could be campaigned as a Stairs hurdle horse, and with the British division being a bit weak, we'll see that in the long distance hurdle that's run at Newbury on Friday. Crambo's going to go up against Strong Leader and go up against maybe Langadan, but we know what Langadan's like this time of the year. Crambo's 66 to 1 for a Stayers. Strong Leader is 14 to 1 for a Stayers, and in that race, Strong Leader's 2 to 1, and Crambo's 11 to 4. So look, they're much closer in the betting for that type of race. But it may just be that, when it comes to Cheltenham, we know that Crambo didn't cut it there. Strong Leader would be the one that's got a question mark around him because they skipped Cheltenham for Aintree last year, and it might just be a bit of a flat track bully, but he's priced because he's 158 rated, I think. But he did go into Aintree as 150 rated to go and win the Grade 1 there. Lucky Place is already 145 now, and this is the start of the season for him. So look, we'll find out some pieces for those horses on Friday. We'll find out some more next month in the Long Walk Hurdle at Ascot. Obviously, there's the Cleve Hurdle as well. We might see some Irish challengers come over. But one of the big components when I was looking at this stuff, and I think a lot of us will do it, you think a horse has got a chance for a race, you might then go and look at the Ante-Post betting because you want to say, oh God, yeah, I forgot about that horse. Oh yeah, we haven't seen him yet. Oh yeah, this could be doing this. I'll quickly just run through the horses in the market for the Stayers Hurdle, right? Because it's baffling. It's baffling, really. I'll get it up now. Sorry, I should have had this prepared because I don't want to be too slow on the video. But it's baffling with some of these markets because I don't know who quotes them. I don't know who decides to put these horses up in the betting. And none of them are being bet, but I don't know who thinks they're going to go there. So obviously you've got Ante-Post, 2-1 favourite for a Stayers Hurdle. He deserves to be that price, right? I would never be getting stuck into anything sub 3-1 this far out. I know people argue 3-1, depends on the horse, all that type of stuff. But look, with anything, right? It's this far out, a lot of water to go under the bridge. I'm not saying it would be, but imagine it's a good ground festival at Cheltenham. That doesn't mean Ante-Post couldn't win, but he might even still be a 2-1 shot on the day if the ground really goes against him. But that's probably not going to happen. But look, he deserves to be where he is in the market, so he's fine. Strong leader, top price 16s, but general 14-1 poke. Getting that question mark around Cheltenham. He ran all right in the Cleve Hurdle. I put him up that day to run really well. I think a few people raised some eyebrows at that, but he was bred to stay. We saw that at Aintree, but it's a harder 3 miles at Cheltenham than it is at Aintree. He, again, deserves to be where he is there, but I don't know if Cheltenham's going to suit him, whereas we've got that with Lucky Place. He ran really well in that Coral Cup, didn't he? And another strong travelling novice horse, top of the game, did it in the Coral Cup, didn't he? Travelled really nicely, stayed well, and then went and won a RSA after. It's a good Franking form for future festival success. Anyway, Lossie Mouse next in. I know she's running the Hatton's Grace, but they talk about her as a champion hurdle horse this year. She ain't going to end up in a Stayers, is she? Impere Pass, he's going over fences. He's entered again this weekend to go over fences. So look, I know he might flop, come back. A lot of horses have done that, like a Bacardi, stuff like that. But don't tell me a horse that's won the Stayers Hurdle as a plan B. There may be one out there. You know, Bouvet Des won a champion hurdle after going novice chasing, but plan B horses, I don't think, win a Stayers Hurdle. Stella Stories, 20-1. Obviously won the novice chase this weekend. Slade Steels, 20-1. He might come back over hurdles, but I don't think they'll be sticking him in a boaty race. Dancing City, Willie Mullins has said that this horse is going novice chasing. Los Angeles Blur, the French horse. Look, 5-year-old, same age as Lucky Place, had loads of racing. Yes, it's won some grade ones, and yes, it has won over 3 miles a couple of times, namely beating Hewick when getting £4 from him, but that doesn't scream out as Stayers Hurdle type form, and connections haven't hinted that he's going to come over here or suggested that he would, so meh. We've seen what happens with all the French Felimes and all them that get hyped up. Look, I mean, no, it's fine, but yeah, they're not the days of old, are they? I Am Maximus is in here. Well, he's going for a Grand National. More likely to run in an Ultimate than come into a race at this, but probably not going to run at the festival, you wouldn't imagine. Segino's 25-1. Home by the Lees, top price 25s, but general 16-1 poke. 3 times he's run in the Stayers, and 3 times he's been well and truly beaten. So much as he's a nice horse, won well last time out, he's not winning a Stayers Hurdle, is he? Let's be honest. And then we get to Lucky Place. He's 25-1, 20-1 generally. So I'm happy to mark it up as 20-1 because that's what price people can get. But I would always urge people to try and bet with a bookmaker that's offering cash outs, because if you hear a bit of news before they do, you might be able to get out of it. It's mad, isn't it? The ones after, State Man's 20-1 after. Stage Star, that's never run over anything over than 2.5 miles, is 33-1. Mystical Power's 33-1. That's running in the fighting fifth, isn't it? It's mad to see the prices around it. I just mean with all of that, right? I've waffled enough about the runners that are in the race, but Ante-Post will go there. Strong leader might, and fair enough. Los Angeles Blue might, but I don't think would. Home by the Lees probably going to run yes, and then Lucky Place will go. And just off the back of that, I know Lucky Place has got to progress and do a bit more, but I do think the horse will do that. You're talking about a horse that probably would be single figures come March. And like I say, I like to get some of these horses in the book at bigger prices, because it might come to the day that I think to myself, whatever it is, let's just say we can get some even money to Ante-Post or 5-4 or something like that. I look at the race and think he's a banker. I can have a bit of a wedge on him, a couple of hundred or a few hundred quid, however you want to bet. I want to have the saving grace that I know I've got a bit of cover in there as well. I want to potentially have the second, third and fourth behind bet at big enough prices, because if you look at a market like this where you're only going to have however many runners, say 10, and you get yourself an even money on odds on favourite, there will be 2 horses minimum that will be single figures in behind. Some people might look at this and think you'd be arguing to back him each way then at the prices if you don't think he might be able to win, but I would just leave it. I just think he's a price shortener. He has potential. Yes, I fully respect Ante-Post, and people will think I'm mad after being so keen of him last year. And, I'm not necessarily taking him on here. Anything can happen in an Ante-Post race and anything can happen in the festival. I just think it's the right type of bet. It might end up being a value loser, but at the same time, I want him in the book. And as I say, if you place these bets with the cash outs, potentially you could get yourself nearer the festival. And if he does go quite short, like Crambo did, and then things don't quite go to plan, you get the opportunity to cash out for a profit. So do what you want with it. If you want to follow me in, then fair enough, good luck to you, and make sure it's your own decision. If you don't want to follow me in, I understand that too. If you want to be steaming into Tiapu at the price that he is, then you've got a bit more braver than I am. But fair play to you for doing it, because he is the most likely winner of the race, but he's priced accordingly, isn't he? I mean, arguably, you could say he'll be shorter, but he'll be shorter on the day. It's just now with any horse, there's a time period that comes between now and the festival for them to make it there. Look, I'm going to wrap this one up now. As I say, there will be a weekend preview over on Which Bookie Thursday. That covers racing from wherever me and Will Smith decide we want to talk about it. And then we've got the GG Weekend Watch, which will be Thursday as well. Look, guys, I really do appreciate your support on this. Appreciate the content that I'm putting out is slightly different and not as regular as it has been in previous years. I'm on it, like it's good to be busy, right? And I've just grafted very hard over the last few months trying to get bits of work in. So I'm trying my best to make this work. You guys will know that I was made redundant, and like this is my source of income coming in now. And like from a betting perspective, there's a limit to how much money I could ever make on that. Doing the content pieces are really important to me because, first and foremost, horse racing is like a passion, and I do genuinely love the sport. To be able to have a hobby and something like that you can drive into potentially being a source of income or a way to live your life is like a phenomenal opportunity that I've managed to find myself in. But it's gone with a bit of graft in there. So I'm not saying this to feel sorry for me or anything like that. It's just I'm doing as best as I can at the moment, guys. As time progresses, if this does end up being something that I do forevermore, then I'm not going to just sort of dismantle this channel. I'm going to try and make sure that we get this back as a priority. But as it stands at the moment, I'm just doing what I can do, trying to get everything out with, while still managing to stay on top of things. So be lucky. Thank you again for your guys' support. I really do appreciate it. 1 month till Christmas. Well, actually, it's 1 month till Boxing Day. Whoa, that will do us. Right, I'm going to go. I'll catch you again very soon.